Hi, I'm Wendy Sheppard. I'm really happy to be here with OMG. And well, I'm a singer, and right now I'm working on a beautiful concert that I'm about to put on for 2 nights on the 1st and 2nd of July. It's called Nostalgia. And it's an idea that I had a few months ago. I hadn't put on a concert of my own in about 10 years, having spent about 7 of those years away from Trinidad, living in different countries. And so I'm back here now, and I really wanted to put on a special concert for the public to come to enjoy an evening of nostalgic vintage classics. So it's going to be at the Pastoral Centre, the St. Dominic's Pastoral Centre at St. Finbar's Church in West Moorings, Friday 1st and Saturday the 2nd of July. And tickets are on sale right now at 4 different locations, one in West Mall and Geopa Designs in West Mall. We have a ticket venue in Ellerslie Plaza, which is Rainy Days. Val Park Shopping Plaza is Videotronics. And Gulf City Mall, we have it at Michael and Judy's. So covered all the ends of, different areas of Trinidad, which will make it easy for you to get your tickets. I have some wonderful friends. So it's really, the concert is Wendy Sheppard, myself, and a host of wonderful friends. I have amazing guest artists in my concert. I would name them. It's Denise Plummer, John Thomas, QEDTT, which is Raymond Edwards, Eddie Cumberbatch, and this time only, because Nigel Floyd couldn't be available for this show, we have Marvin Smith covering for Nigel, and Marvin is a wonderful singer. We have my mother, who's a wonderful singer too, Elizabeth Sheppard. She is going to be joining the cast, and we have Bentley Potter School of Dance doing some dances. We have a wonderful cuatro player out of Venezuela who's living here now and teaching the cuatro. He's an amazing cuatro professor and player. His name is Raul Landaeta. He's just amazing, and he's going to add a lot of diversity to the concert. And we have Dave Protein as one of our accompanists. It's going to be a beautiful night of vintage nostalgic music from as far back as the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. I believe it's going to be something really special and unique for Trinidad, because when people do back in times concerts here, it's usually 60s, disco, ABBA sort of things. And I decided that I was going to do something a little bit further back, because the music from those eras, as far back as 1940s, I believe the music to be so incredibly beautiful. The lyrics, the melodies are just exquisite, and they just transport you into a feeling of romance and I don't know, it's just fabulous music. I really enjoyed the process of getting this show together. I believe we have some beautiful, beautiful melodies, some amazing voices to transport you back to those times. And I hope that you can all come. It would be a really, really beautiful evening together. We're going to have a great time. I have wanted to sing ever since I was a little girl. And from a young age, I guess about 8 or 9 years old, I realized that I could sing. I could hold the tune. And I would sing all over the house, in the shower a lot, because I loved how I sounded in the shower. Natural acoustics. But I was quite a shy child. And I shied away from being involved in a lot of things. I mean, I was never really in any school choirs because I was so shy. I didn't have the confidence to get up on a stage. It's not enough just to be able to sing. It's quite another thing to get up in front of a lot of people and do it. So I just knew on my own that I could. And I had a dream in my heart, like, if you ever ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up, Wendy? Oh, I want to be a singer, But never thought that I really could do it, especially living in this little island of Trinidad. But anyway, life progressed, and I did when I was 9 years old, actually. I sang on stage in the school Christmas production of Cinderella. I was chosen to be Cinderella because of my voice, because the role required some singing, and I just went and I auditioned, and so I was brave enough to take on that role, which was kind of surprising because it was a solo role. So that was my first on-stage experience, which was really great. And then I didn't really do anything until I was in my late teen, like early 20s. I joined the Marionettes choir. I actually was born in San Fernando, grew up in La Romaine up until I was the age of 14. And then we moved up to Port of Spain. My family moved to Port of Spain, and so that's when my town life and experiences started. Joined the Marionettes chorale, and their choir is so dynamic and so well-renowned and beautiful. My mother actually was singing in the choir for quite a few years before I joined, and I would go every Christmas to see their productions at Queen's Hall, and I think one of them in particular was just so wow to me. I was so inspired that I thought, okay, I'm joining this choir. That's it. Joined the choir, sang with them for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And it was great. It was great. I had some opportunities within the choir to do some duets, collaborations at some of the concerts. And then I joined several bands. I met this Joey Ningwai from the Second Image. At the time, I joined Second Image, and because he was looking for a female vocalist to join, and had some experiences in Carnival. I was on the road on the truck one year, singing background vocals. I did sing one solo, which was "Nice Time" by Burning Flames. With the band, I was still with the band. I was with 8 or 9 or 10 people on a stage. So I went from the choir being with 80 others on a stage to the band being on a group. I was always part of a group, which has its comforts. You're not by yourself. So I was in Second Image. I was in ITCZ. It was a series of a few like Second Image, then the rock bands and Joey Ningwai and Friends for many years, and got a lot of experience just performing. I always knew I could sing, but you have to start getting your feet wet out on a stage.
And the whole stage presence.
The whole stage presence.
Moving the crowd.
Yeah, the interaction. It's not enough just to have a pretty voice and stand up and sing. People get very bored of you in about 5 minutes. So I had a lot of experience with them, and then that came to an end. I would say about 5 years into that, for various reasons, and I didn't have anything to do in the music world. But I still wanted to sing, and I knew I could, and I just was looking for an avenue where I could just go and sing somewhere. And I met the food and beverage manager at the time at the Hilton Hotel, who approached me and said, do you ever do solo singing? I'm like, well, no. Never really done it. I don't know if I have the confidence or if I have enough material to come and sing. Because I would know, at the, not the La Buca, one of their restaurants at the Hilton has a Sunday brunch. And maybe you could just come and get your feet wet there and sing for the people while they're having lunch. So that was my first solo experience, singing for like an hour on my own. And it went so well. It's easy listening ballads you're singing while people are eating. You're not exactly rocking the place out. But that was born out of this restaurant singing that I did for just a few weeks. Every time I would sing, people would come up and say, hey, do you have a card? Do you sing at events? And I said, well, sure. I didn't know where this was going to go, but people started asking me to sing at birthday parties and weddings and funeral services even. Any sort of private or corporate event where one person could go in there and engage the audience for 15 minutes or even up to an hour of singing. And that's what I started to do. That was in 2002. So it's been 14 years now of singing for special events, private and corporate events, and putting on my own concerts like I'm about to do. Yeah. I think I have a much better understanding of what I do now. Whereas in the beginning of my singing career, I knew I could sing. I knew I had a voice that people enjoyed listening to, and I would just go out, I would learn a song, not even think too much into what I was singing about. In my early years, I would just sort of say, hey, I'm going to learn this song, and I pick up songs very quickly. I would learn a song and just go and sing it, and I wouldn't think too much into the whole process of what am I singing about, what story am I telling with each of these songs, what emotion am I trying to get across, what emotion am I wanting to these people to feel from this song. I didn't have the presence of mind to think about anything to do with it. I would just go and sing. And I think that's why people say now when they hear me, like, Wendy, you've really grown as an artist. You've really, there's just the way that you sound, it's so different, and the way you portray your songs. And it's because, well, 14 years later,
Understand it.
you understand, and
The craft is, I suppose.
yes, well, you understand that you have to think about what you're doing. It's not enough just to go and do it. I also had some voice training while I was living in New York. I lived there for 2.5 years, and Juilliard, the renowned Juilliard, you could go there and audition and get into their night school. So I did that. I went and I took part in their night program and did vocal training for about 1.5 years. And it was very practical vocal training. It wasn't a lot of theory. It was hardly any theory at all. But it was getting up in front of a class with about 12 other people and a fantastic vocal coach and a lady on a piano that could play anything. And you had to perform, and they would critique you. And it made me learn about how to breathe properly, how to form my words, what to think about the material you're singing, the emotion behind it, the story behind it. It just made me think much more into what I was doing. And I think that made the hugest difference in my tonal quality, in my facial expressions, just in everything. I came out of that experience just a better performer all around. I think my philosophy now is really just to understand case by case where I'm going to sing, what is the event about, what do you want from me? Do you want easy listening, background entertainment? I could do that. Do you want to get up and dance? Do you want you want me to get the party going? I can do that. You just have to understand case by case what the people want and deliver to the best of your ability and help everybody have a good time. Music is to be enjoyed. If you're not feeling emotion of any kind from someone singing to you, that person's not doing a good job. You could have the prettiest voice in the world, but you got to feel something. Feel sadness, feel joy, feel excitement, feel to laugh, It's something that should bring about emotion. Best time in my career, I think, oh goodness, I think the years that I really had on my own, singing at, developing myself as a solo artist, singing for special events, I really love it. I really love it. Especially, I love weddings, because I'm a romantic at heart. I love to be there and create the emotion in the room with my songs. That for me is to see the people enjoying and to be receiving that vibe of, wow, this is awesome, is the highlight for me. That's why I do it. I love what I do. I love to sing, but I love when the people enjoy it, when I know that I'm making a difference to where I am. Worst moment, I don't know. Gosh, that's a hard one. In everything there's good and bad, and I would say that through the years there are times when you sing for someone or for an audience and you get this wonderful vibe, and that's when it doesn't become a job for me anymore. It just becomes fun. You get, every now and then magic happens, but every now and then it doesn't, for whatever reason. Not everyone.
Like when the audience don't get it.
Yes, but you have to plug on and you have to sing and you have to pretend like you're having a great time. That happens every now and then. Sometimes the different dynamics don't work, and some audiences can be a little bit rough. Whereas they might be having a wonderful time, but they're watching you so.
Maybe a lot of times they might be stunned, at Trinidadians especially, stunned and really don't know what to do. Yeah, so they don't want to seem too impressed. They don't want to seem...
Oh my gosh, but like nothing.
And they go blank.
You get nothing, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're hating it. They're hating it, and I just want to be over with this. But quite often, I have sung for people, and even the ones with the blank expressions come at the end, oh my gosh, hug, you were wonderful. I'm like, serious? You're serious? You enjoyed it? Okay, that's wonderful. I had a wonderful childhood. I grew up in a little neighborhood in San Fernando called Bel Air, well, La Romaine. And went to Cedar Grove School in Palm East. I had San Fernando life is a little bit, they say, more sheltered than Port of Spain. I think that's maybe why on moving to Port of Spain, I was a bit shy because, South life is a little more sheltered. But I had a very fun childhood, it was a time in Trinidad when we didn't have all this crime. We had petty theft and that sort of thing, but children could have gone out on their own, on their bikes, ride all over the neighborhood, build tree houses, be out of home all day long, come back in at 6 in the evening, and that was normal, and we were safe. So the freedom of my childhood was wonderful. It was at a time in Trinidad when life was very, very different. And I'm very close to my family. We have a very close family unit, and great friends. I still am friends with my La Romaine posse. Yes, and I don't know. It just was a very happy childhood. I can't say anything bad about it at all. I grew up with my dad and my mom. My dad worked in the oil all his life, and so he was always hard at work, making the money. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and who loved to sing. And she always sang in choirs. She used to sing in the choir, in Orpheus choir. I don't know if you ever heard that one. And so I always knew she could sing, and she has a beautiful tone to her voice. She's a bit more operatic. She has an operatic style of singing where I'm a bit more pop. And I always looked up at her and went, wow, I just love to hear my mom sing. Which is why it's so special now to be incorporating her into my shows, because she also had the comfort of being in this choir all her life, Well, for so many years, like 20-something years, she sang. She's going to sing solo. In my concert, she's doing 2 solos on her own and a duet with me. Well, I think that one of the reasons that I wanted to come back to Trinidad, my husband and I spent 7 years out of Trinidad, and I have such a close bond to my family. I was every possible event I could have come back to sing out here. I was like, okay, back to Trinidad. But I mean, while my mom is alive, I want to be here sharing my life with her. So it's one of the reasons I came back. What am I afraid of? Well, now that I have a daughter, I have a 3-year-old daughter. Her name is Sophia. She's the most precious thing in the face of this earth. Now I know what having a real fear is like, and I think that my biggest fear is something bad happening to her. So I pray every day for her to be happy and healthy and safe. So that's one of my fears, just, when you hear of bad things happening to young kids, and I just pray and ask God for his protection. My OMG moment would hands down have to be the moment that my newborn baby girl was put into my arms for the first time.
You were mom.
I was mum. That was, it's hard to put that into words, the kind of feeling that you get. But looking down at her, holding her for the first time was pretty OMG to me. Well, thank you very much for having me, OMG. It was a pleasure to be here, being interviewed. And I'd just like to encourage everyone who enjoys beautiful music to come out on the 1st or the 2nd, or both, of July at the St. Dominic's Pastoral Center. You can call 765-4190 for further information. It's going to be a beautiful evening of music with myself and a host of wonderful singers. We're going to transport you back to some eras of time when music was so stunningly gorgeous and make you feel emotions that you may not have felt before in your life. We're going to have a wonderful time. Nostalgia, see you there. Don't miss it.